มาจึงกระนั้นปันสองกรุงจีนปรัชญาเพลงสามัคคีกลุ่มนั้นเนียสองกลุ่มบอมรากาเปียกัมพูชีมาตรงรถเนียเปียมเปียสันเสรีไอ้กระเรียนโบราณเพียมอาธรรมปไตยขมายประเสริฐโตประดันไทยเรียสามันอ่อยบอตึงเฉลียนเปียนโมกตรวตราสมบัติโดนตาทนเทียนจิตขมายเรียงอาทิตย์เรียงบอมลือกัมพูชีขมายไอ้กระเทียมเทียต้องสลายปัญหาโยบายเศรษฐกิจสังคมอันหักษาสะกดไล่คลาจีเบียบเพียงรุ่งเรืองได้ยืนปูยืนผู้เข้ายืนขมายกรองลานสังคมเจียนไทยรักนาดจอมเราอำลาจุนประเจียนำไปกัมพูชีรวมรู้เส้นสายเจียโยคณะป่าสองโคเจียนสมาชิกคณะป่าสองโคเจียนปรัชญาไม่เพียงสามัคคีกลุ่มนั้นเนียสังกลุ่มบอมรากาเปียกัมพูชีมาตรงรถเนียเปียมเปียสันเสรีไอ้กระเรียนโบราณเพียมอาธรรมปไตยขมายประเสริฐโตประดันไทยเรียสามันอ่อยบอตึงเฉลียนเปียนโมกตรวตราสมบัติโดนตาทนเทียนจิตขมายเรียงอาทิตย์เรียงบอมพลือกัมพูชีมาไอ้กระเทียมเมียต้องสลายปัญหาโยบายเศรษฐกิจสังคมอันหักษาสะกดไล่คลาจีเบียบเพียงรุ่งเรืองได้ยืนปูยืนผู้เข้ายืนขมายกรองลานสังคมเจียนไทยรักมาชนะได้จำประดออำนาจจุนประเจียนำไปกัมพูชีรวมรู้เส้นสาย
Jumripsu and good evening. Welcome to Khmer Youth Voices for Justice. Thank you for joining our live show. This program is under CNRP-America. My name is Linda Wu. I am live right now from the beautiful state of California. As always, welcome to the show. And as always, this show is in English. And I want to explain why it's in English. The purpose of this show is to bring awareness to the second and third generations of Khmer youths overseas of the political situations in Cambodia. So I hope you enjoy the show. I hope if you like the show, please comment, please share the show as well. So again, my name is Linda Wu. I have just one guest today. His name is Ricky. He is the General Secretary of CNRP-A. I will bring him out a little bit. Our topic today is EBA. It's when we're talking about EBA, we're talking about job, we're talking about money, we're talking about it's gonna affect the people in Cambodia, the working people of Cambodia. So it is very important that our youth understand what is EBA and what is going on with Cambodia, why we already the EU already withdraw 20% already. So this is very important and also important to the regime as well. So I hope you join in. I hope you put in the comment and join in and join in and comment so that way the show will be more active. Let me introduce my guest. His name is Ricky. He is the General Secretary of CNRP-A. He dedicated his life and still working for Cambodia. So I want to bring him out, and it's very honored. He's here by himself, so we're going to have a lot to talk about. So let me bring him out. How are you?
I am okay, as busy as usual, but to help the country, we need to. I can find time to fit, the schedule every
Thank
day.
you, Lupu, for being here. Even though you said it's busy, you have been retired. Is it a year yet or over a year now?
Almost.
Almost a
Yeah,
year.
May 31st is my complete year. Right now, it's
But,
almost a year. Yeah.
but you have been busy um, than before, because in February you were in Paris, you were in Europe in February.
In
In March,
January.
yeah. Oh, just in January or February?
Yeah,
January.
January 7.
And then you were in the middle of March. You were in Washington State, Oregon, and at
Yeah.
the end of March you were in Washington D.C. Any place I missed, Lupu?
Yeah, it's no complaint.
And not to talk about many trip from Modesto to Long Beach.
No, not to mention to San Jose or other places.
Yeah, so thank you so
Yeah.
much, Lupu, for your dedications, and always for everything you have done is for Cambodia. So thank you so much.
Thank you too for helping hosting the show every Tuesday. It's not easy, you have to work, you have to cook, you have to find times for helping the country, helping the party and the country, and especially the people. We all need to work together.
Since we are speaking in English, how important it is to speak in English, because not many show in overseas that's in English, and also for the youth to understand.
It's very important that we need to spread our message across to all kinds of all generations, the older generation and the younger generation. And of course, the younger ones does not understand Khmer language very well, and they might not know what we are talking about. Especially the people the children or the young adult that are grown up in this country or in Canada. And I know this is a youth voice, but we cannot find our youth to understand enough about our message to feel comfortable talking in live show. But although I'm the older adult, we can spread the message to our youth, our younger generation, to understand where we are now, where Cambodia is right now, and where we are now in terms of democracy, human rights, freedom, and the livelihood in Cambodia. So they need to understand your children or my children or the nieces and nephews of other, people that they need to know what's going on in the mother country where their parents or their grandparents come from.
Yes, it is very important that they know, and not just know, they are aware of the situation in Cambodia. I just put the flyer up. This happened last Friday. I mean, what, 4 days ago. I'm Lupu's home. I know you home, but you probably just got home. You were in this protest was in Washington D.C., and I hope our audience can see it's for freedom, democracy, human rights, justice for Cambodia. So, and this protest is to release His Excellency Kem Sokha, Mr. Kem Sokha. He is currently in jail for 27 years, and also we are requesting to release all political prisoner. And when we talking about political prisoner, we're not talking about only CNRP. We're talking about candlelight. We're talking about labor union, and so it's not just one particular group. And also, Saint Terry, she does not belong to any groups or any political party, but she's there advocating for Cambodia. So this happened last Friday on March 31st. Since you were there, can you share a little bit, Lukpu, what's going on? How important it was that you were there in Washington,
Mhm.
D.C.
Yes, you know, I first of all appreciate the people that participated in the rally, and I thank you. I thank for the people that could manage the times, money, energy to join the protests in DC, like Linda's already mentioned last Friday, March 31st. It's very important for the people of Cambodian people, especially to fight for the freedoms. And we know that they cannot stand up for their rights. They cannot even speak on their for themselves. You know, if they speak against the regime, they will be put in jail right away in Cambodia. So just to say, hey, I would like justice. I want human rights. I would like to see democracy, a real democracy in Cambodia, or I would like my liberties. I would like the freedom of speech, freedom of press, freedom of religion. Yeah, religion is not a big deal, but freedom of assembly and petition, that's a big deal. And they will, you know, that person or whoever try to speak up their mind or try to ask the government to do something, they would be either threatened, intimidated, or be put in jail, arrested and put in jail. So the only people that are speaking for the people in Cambodia are us outside. You know, we live in the United States, in Canada, in Europe, in Australia. We can we can speak for them. So our protest was, I believe, in my own assessment, is very successful because we marched from. First of all, we met in front of the State Department, and we were joined by Freedom House. That's another NGO for human rights, and we also joined by Miss Saint Teresa's lawyer. She made a little speech in there too, asking for the release of Saint Terry, Miss Saint Terry, who is also a Cambodian American that was put in jail for no reason, just because she wanted to fight for the rights for those people to be free that Hun Sen regime has put in jail for, I believe, for different times, different duration, some 5 years, could be 10 years or 15 years, but um, she spoke up for them, and then she was put in jail. And then we also joined by the Venezuelan opposition party. He was put in jail too, but he was released, and now he's working from abroad, from the U.S. And he was working very hard to promote democracy and human rights in Cambodia. And then after we were speaking for about an hour, we had the State Department officials. There were two of them came down from the office coming toward us, and we hand deliver our petitions, the wet print petitions that we collected during that time, and also from our states here to Washington State or California or Florida, wherever we could collect it, we submitted to them. They really appreciate it for what we did, and they understood that. That's what they told me. They understood that, yes, Cambodia needs a real democracy, and they have been working hard on it, especially through their ambassador, the U.S. ambassador to Cambodia, Ambassador Patrick Murphy. We appreciate them, and they said, "Oh, it's cold out here." And you know what? I told them, I said it's even colder, scarier in Cambodia, because people could not express themselves like we were doing in front of the State Department. We all were put in jail, or we were all broke up by the security forces, by the Hun Sen Authority already. If we gather together like we did in front of the State Department on Friday the 31st, March 31st. So they were, we were sharing with them. I know they probably know, I think there was a CNRP-America live for that part. There's only a few of us. Anyway, we finished the protest in front of the State Department. We were marching through the street and then to the park. We were escorted by the Washington, D.C. Police Department. You know, they were helping us, helping the traffic. They stopped the traffic. They really want us to walk freely and to express ourselves freely, and also want us to be spreading the message. The security, the police, Washington D.C. police, um, were happy to help, and also people honking and people clapping. They took a lot of pictures when we said Hun Sen has been in power for 40 years, almost 40 years, and they have been. He has been in like the longest serving prime minister in the world. To the American people, they said, "Wow, this guy is a dictator." But to Hun Sen, he was proud of himself because he could hold the power for so many years, even though it was a regular elections, and also unfair, unjust, and the people boy was stolen. Their vote was stolen, and you know, even that Hun Sen, we know him, that he did not accept the truth. So we wanted you to know that's what Hun Sen does to your relatives in Cambodia, if you have one. Um, they have been in power for so many years because he either put his opposition in jail, like Kim Sokha in jails, and many other opposition activists in jail, and whoever speak against him. And I forgot to mention the five key demands that we asked the State Departments to do. Our protest, my fellow audience probably wants to know what was the purpose of the protest. Well, we were asking um, the Hun Sen regime to release Kem Sokha, because Kem Sokha must be immediately and unconditionally released, acquitted, and have his political rights restored, along with all Cambodian political um, prisoners, or political of conscience, actually the prisoners of conscience. That's key demand number one. And we also asked that the CNRP, which was dissolved on the basis of the fabricated charge against Kim Sokha, must be reinstated in good time to take part in the July 23rd election, which is coming up in less than 4 years, with the leadership members in exile, like Acting President Sam Rainsy, or Vice President Musakur, or Ain Chai-Ing, or the rest of the CNRP Permanent Committee member need to be returned to take part in this important election. And also demand number three was there should be no international recognition for government claiming legitimacy from an election which does not meet these criteria: free, fair, and just election. That's key point number three. We also asked the international community to adopt restrictive measures against the political leaders and leaders of the security forces responsible for serious human rights violation and the dissolution and repression of the opposition. They have been uh, threatening even Candlelight Party right now. Yes. So those people need to face the Magnitsky Act and they need to have visa banned from for coming to the U.S. and have their assets frozen so that they could stop violating human rights and put pressures on the opposition, as we heard already. And the last key demand was that we asked the democratic states everywhere that they need to suspend all bilateral financial support to the Cambodian government and focus their support on Cambodian civil society organization and opposition parties. So if the Hun Sen regime doesn't respect or doesn't follow the criteria free, fair election, then the fund that is supposed to help the government should be diverted to the opposition party or the national, the not the national, but the NGO, which is a non-governmental organizations. That's what we asked for, and that's what in our petition. So the youth needs to know we are doing this for you guys, for your generations. If we don't do this, who knows? Hun Sen may transfer the power to his son Hun Manet for another 40 years, 50 years. You got no chance to lead to help the country. That's what we have been doing in front of the Capitol Hill. We asked for the same thing, and we just I know VOA and Radio Free Asia has had a chance to cover this too. So if you would like to know more, I believe they both have both languages, Khmer and English, so you can do your own research from or get more information from Radio Free Asia or Voice of America. Thank you.
Thank you, Lapu. And I just want to let our audience know that the people that show up to protest, that go to the rally, the money is out of our own pocket, and it's not an organization. It's not CNRP-A paid for it. No, look, Ricky is spending his money to buy his plane ticket. And thank you to Washington D.C. state or the state chapter around there that support us, that going from getting the protest permit, make sure the sound system is working, make sure everything is right, make sure you have snack, make sure you have water. So those are the support, and those are CNRP-A, and like the Pooh said, it's not just Khmer. It's that's Myanmar, that's a different country that joined the protest as well, because human rights and democracy is for everyone, and everyone stand up for that. Doesn't matter if it happened in Cambodia. We happen to be Khmer, so we care and be so much concerned about Cambodia. But other people, they know what it is. When there's no human rights, there's no democracy, that's a country with dictator, and like Hun Sen, that been in power for. Go ahead.
Yeah, I want to add, thank you, Linda, for mentioning the people from other countries like Burma, and thank them for their sound system. And also, I have a few friends from Philadelphia who works for CNRP USA, joining us to Mr. Miechie with his friends. And we have, people that sacrifice their work day from California. My own friends here, Mr. Kumbun Chun, who flew with me, spending about $700 or $800. The airfare, like $400, plus the charges that unexpected for him because he flew on Spirit Airline with the backpack and carry on. They charge like $99 dollars or $100 back and forth. And he gave up 2 days of his work. So when you total the, at least $100 a day at work, so added up, it's like quite a bit of money. And he's the only example. And a few other people like Mr. Tiong, and so Paul Pan, who also come from Massachusetts, they have to wake up early in the morning, like 2 o'clock, to catch the to try to get to DC on time. This is a real sacrifice. And again, I want Cambodian people to know, or Khmer youth to know that not only Cambodians are doing this, Americans are doing it too. Burmans are coming up with they come from Philadelphia as well to join the protest. So if other people are joining the protest for the change in Cambodia for our own future, for our own good, we the Cambodian people should appreciate and should take part ourselves. We don't just talk, talking doesn't cook the rice. We want action. So we want to take actions every time we do. Action is speak louder than words.
And hopefully the youth that listen, or anyone that listen, that can understand next time when we have a rally. I know the future rally probably going to be in Long Beach, or probably going to be in Massachusetts, where the Cambodian populations are a lot, but I hope that they will join. I hope they will sacrifice half of their afternoon to join, because like Lupu said, Washington DC was very cold, was windy. You can see from the picture, it's very windy. So, but they were there for Cambodia. So I hope that our youth will show up loud and advocate for Cambodia. Can you hear me okay, Lupu?
Yeah, I can hear you very well. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I just want to mention one thing too. We want to leave like a few minutes at the end of the show. We want to answer questions if there is any.
Okay, no problem. And please, our viewer, put your questions, put your comments. We can see them. Lupu can see them. I can see them. You can write them in Khmer. You can write them in English. Beside that, I don't know how to reach French or anything else, but English and Khmer will be good for me. Also, since we're doing the protest, let's move to our topic. Our topic is EBA. And for EBA, it's a respect for human rights and democracy in Cambodia. That's the big thing. For our audience, can you describe what EBA is, Lupu?
Yeah, everything but arms. That's what EBA stand for, and this is for those countries that really need help, and Cambodia is one of them. European Union follow the classification of the United Nations, who found the country that the least developed countries in the world. There are about 50 countries. I said about because the number may change, less than 50 or a little bit more, but this is based on the 2001 data. And Cambodia joined the EBAs in the early 2010 or 2013. I believe it's after CNRP, and because the country, they want to they mean the European Union, those countries, 27 countries, they want Cambodia to be in good shape after 30 years or so. That's their goal, that Cambodia will be ruled by the democratic governments, and therefore they want Cambodia to develop towards democracy, just like in the Western world. If not, possibly by Thailand or Malaysia or Singapore, just around that area where people can go to the polls without being fear intimidated, choose their own leaders. That's what the dream of the European Unions. And in order for them to get that dream come true, to reduce the human rights violation, because in the least developed country, the government tend to violate the human rights, and the European Union did not want the government to do that. So they said, hey, let's get your country developed. We will exempt your tax. You can import all the goods except arms to our countries in Europe. We will exempt the tax. We will not charge you taxes. And Cambodia is okay with that. Hun Sen government actually at the time agreed to. So they start working on it, and as the years goes on, the Hun Sen regime tend to forget what they have been, what he, agreed to with the European Union. Then the European Union said, wait a minute, you dissolved CNRP in 2017. You put the leaders in jails. We are not going to approve that. You violating our agreement. So let's get back on track. Okay, so they talked to Hun Sen. They first sent the representative, the EU representative to Cambodia, trying to solve this before they reached the first resolution back in February of 2020, a few years ago. And then they said, you know what? Right now we just take 20% off, and which means all your goods that come to European Union, European countries, you have to pay 20% the taxes. And then Hun Sen, said, wait a minute, this is what the European Union won, and I do not know if I can live up to that expectation or that request. So piece of Kemsakala or there's CNRP reinstated, and also the political prisoners or prisoners of communists need to be released without conditions, and then ask for free and fair election. And there you go again. Hun Sen did not agree. It did not change. He continued to violate, to ignore the proposal to the resolution. And then this year they met again. I believe was it March 15? They came up to the resolution, say, wait a minute, we are going to ask you one more time. We're going to revisit the proposal, the agreement. And Hun Sen said that he's not going to follow what the European asked him to do. He's claimed. So I want the youth to know this, the youth especially, to know this fact. He claimed that if he followed the European Union's request, he's going to lose the sovereignty of the country, and also Cambodia will not be independent. He wanted the country to be independent. That was his excuse. He already lost sovereignty to China and Vietnam by giving the permission for China to build a real naval base in Koh Kong. And he also allowed the Chinese immigrant in Kampong Sao, and of course the flow of Vietnamese people to Cambodia is nonstop. So what's the point of saying that he's going to lose sovereignty? What he was saying, what he did not tell you is this, is the fact. If he followed the European Union, which means asking for free, fair, and just election, and then have the CNRP reinstated and release all the political prisoners, and especially the National Election Committee need to be reformed by the agreement that the CNRP and the CPP agreed to on July 24th of 2014. That I believe July 22nd of 2014, saying that the 4 from CNRP side and the other 4 from the CPP side and 1 from the NGO, the 9 members need to be reinstated. Right now, all 9 next meaning the National Election Committee members, are all pro-CPP or appointed by CPP. If Hun Sen follow this agreement with the European Union, he would lose power. Of course, the people will vote for the real freedom lover like Kem Sokha or Som Rang Si or the CNRP leaders. That's what he didn't tell the youth. That's what he did not tell the world. He claimed that he will lose sovereignty, but in fact he will lose power and he won't get a chance to transfer power to Hun Manet. This is the fact. I want the whole world to know, not just the youth, but Hun Sen tried to play trick, and his trick, we already know that it's not a trick anymore. That's just his ambition to hold on to power at any cost, especially the cost of the cost here for the Cambodian people to suffer more, because Hun Sen doesn't care whether the people are losing money, losing jobs. About 1 million jobs will be lost, right? We know about not factories closed, garment workers unemployed from those factories, from those hundreds of factories. And now Hun Sen say, oh, we don't need EBA, we're going to lose ABA anyway. This is another bogus for a reason again for Hun Sen to say that he doesn't care about Cambodian suffering. The government workers are suffering. They don't have anything to feed themselves, their mother, their children, or even the people that are transporting the workers back and forth. They end up losing money too. Even the renters, the landlord that the government workers rent the room from will be those rooms will be vacant, and they end up losing money too. So again, I would like our audience to understand that Hun Sen will do anything at the people's cost. They don't. I mean, he doesn't put the national interest. He doesn't put the people's interest first. He put his interest first and his family's interest first.
Thank you, Lupu, for basically summarizing what EBA is and what's going on right now. And I just want to put a number towards a number, and the number of people and the number of dollar. We already know in 2020, the EU decided to withdraw 20%. That 20% equal to $1.9 billion. So basically, it's 1/5 of EBA. So every year is like over $5 billion that Cambodia export out to the EU. And let put into perspective, that's like many and let me see, this is based on a report lately from the Ministry of Labor in Cambodia. This is not a report out of Radio Free Asia or anything. This is the report from the Ministry of Labor that in 2022, at least 50,000 garments workers lost their job, while factory nearly 500 closed and suspended work. So instead of saying, oh, we're going to close, many of the term they use is suspended. So that way those factory doesn't have to pay the worker the unemployment or the benefit that they're going to receive that they saving on their paycheck. So at the beginning of 2023, 10 factories closed and 71 factories suspended their contracts. So that's the word again. So basically, it's these factory is ripping off all these workers by saying they suspend. So when they suspend, you have no job. People have no job and no income. So that would be affecting 32,000 workers, and so they have lost their job because it says suspended. We don't know when they're going to come back. So this is talking about 2022 and 2023, and then that's the result from 20% EBA. So if Cambodia is going to lose 100% of it, you are talking about over $5 billion of exporting. And that's affect a lot of people. That's like over 1 million people that actually working in the garment sector, the factory that making clothes. You live in America, I live in America. Walmart, Target, Macy, they still sell Cambodia clothes. They still sell clothes made from different countries. But in Cambodia, they keep saying, oh, because of COVID-19, that's excuses from the regime. No, that's not excuses. That's a fact from the withdrawal of the EBA for the last, say, 3 years right now. So in order for Cambodia to gain back the EBA, and we don't know, so sooner or later, it's going to be 100% withdrawal. And that's going to be affect a lot of pocket. One person, that's many people, would be one person working to support a family, like the Poo said, room rental. And we are talking about $200 a month here. Factory worker, $200 a month. And if you work overtime, $250, $300, probably the most. So it's not an easy life. And if you're talking about working, it's not $1,000 and $1,000. This we're talking about $200, $300 salary that they receive, and they are working 6 days per week, long hour, under condition that we don't know, because the labor union is not allowed. They're not even allowed to form the union. If you're talking about Naga worker, the reason they're fighting so hard because Naga Corp trying to eliminate the union, where it's supporting people, where the union advocate for the worker. On this case, the factory, the owner of the factory is signed, the regime is signed with the owner of those factory, and you're going to keep hearing factory suspend, and nobody is there to pay their worker money, and you're going to keep seeing protest after protest because there's no job.
If they could hold a protest,
Yes,
they might not be able to hold a protest either. I just want to add that numbers, Linda. When you said 1.9 million, 1.9 billion dollars were
20%, yeah,
lost when they only take out 20% of the EBA, and we know 20% is 1/5 of 100%. What happened if they take the total 100% of the EBA? So the Cambodian government will need to pay the whole pay taxes just like any other country, just like another developed country exporting their goods to European unions. Then Cambodian have to pay the whole amount. So you know how much we lost if you take 1.5 1.9. Was it 1.9 or 9? 1.9.
1.9. I'll just say
1.9 is going to be 9.5 billion. That's a lot of money. When you time 5, that's $9.5 billion. 9.5 billions for to the Cambodian people. Probably they do not understand what 9.5 billion is. We know a million followed by 60, and 9 billion followed by 90. So 9.5. So 9.5 is 9,000 billion. 9,500 billion. That's a lot. That's a lot of money for the country. For a country to lose that amount of money is uncalled for. Very unfair to the Cambodian people who need the money so much to survive. They need to survive. This is another way for Hun Sen to kill the people, and by let go the EBA that the European Union asked Hun Sen to do to agree on, but Hun Sen refuses to do. So who's gonna end up paying all of these prices? It's the Cambodian people. So people need to understand that Hun Sen is killing you if you live in Cambodia, and all your parents or your grandparents, because now how do the government workers, like 800,000 of the people that are government workers in Cambodia, how are they going to going to survive? How are they gonna make the ends meet, or they gonna pay the loan that they borrow from the bank? They're gonna end up losing their houses, their lands, their farms, and they will be refugees or workers going to Thailand, to Malaysia, to other countries. So is this the way to lead a country? This is how you call peace? I don't think so, because good government, good governance, the government that really find job for the people to work for and enjoy their family staying together, instead of one half of the family going to other country to look for a job, to find money, while the other half stay home. That's not what we want Cambodian to do. But this is what Hun Sen has been doing, and he just doesn't really care. And a lot of people that say, hey, CPP is doing the right thing. Come on, wake up. CPP is hurting everyone in Cambodia, especially those people that need a lot of help, um, need to find jobs. They cannot get an unemployment like in this country, where you lose your job because the company closed. You have the unemployment to spend at least for 5 months, for 6 months. It depends. And in Cambodia, it's the opposite. You got nothing.
And when Lukpu said it's going to be a lot of people out of job if the EU withdraw EBA, and we are not and we're not adding the 2 million of Cambodian that's already outside working, because those 2 million people could not find work in Cambodia. They are migrant worker in Thailand, in Korea, in Japan, and those people that's still working inside Cambodia because they don't want to leave their family. They don't have an option. So surviving on $200 a month, $250 a month, working 6 days per week to support a family, that's very hard, tough life already. And also when talking about the 2 million people in Thailand, migrant worker in Thailand, now it's going to be they are away from their family, away from their home, like Lukpu said. And so the situations when we're talking about EBA, it's something that Hun Sen should stop and think. And if Hun Sen doesn't think, the people should need to think, need to add it up, that is going to be affecting their pocket. When I say it's affecting their pocket, going to be affecting their home, their stomach. They should speak up. They should say, Hun Sen, respect human rights, respect democracy. How hard is that? That's all the European Union is asking for. Anything else you'd like to add, Lukpu? Did I miss anything on?
No, you didn't miss anything. We just want people to understand. If you say $200 a month for each worker, and there are about 800,000 people that are working for the garment factory, producing clothes, shoes, and we are losing 160 billion. Yeah, that's a lot of money. So 160 billion. That's a lot of money for each month. This is just each month. 800,000. If you time those number, no, I'm sorry, 160. Yeah, 160 million. 160 million. Let me correct that. I don't want the audience to get the wrong message. $160 million a month. But if you take that times 10, that's 1,600,000,000. 1,600,000,000. What that number? I don't know what the number in Cambodian. What do we say that? I have to figure out. but I know how to say it in
Put the
English.
number for
A lot of
me.
money, and that's what Hun Sen is taking away from you, from the government workers. He should have just let the country, let the election be free and fair and just, and so that people can choose their leaders correctly, and then follow the human rights call for free and fair elections and stop the violations of human rights in Cambodia, and just follow what the European Union's want the Hun Sen regime's government to regimes to do. It's not hard. From us, from our point of view, where we like free and fair elections, it's easy just to, hey, let's run the country, be fair. No one is above the law. And what do people want? People want to live freely in Cambodia, just like in the 1990, like the late 1990s, or when we have the first election, or during the 50s when we got independence from France. I was born in the early 60s, and then we enjoy our life so much because no one's told us to do anything. We just walk around and enjoy our life, farms, animals, walking without worrying about who's gonna attack us, who's gonna kill us. We just That's what people want, and Hun Sen should or must listen to the people. He's not the people's boss. He's the people's servant, just like in this country. We don't want to talk about what's happening today. Uh, you know about the Donald Trump's case. That we know
Nobody's
Donald
above
Trump
the
is
law.
he was the president, and look what happened now. He's in the DA, district attorney's, in the police custody because of the infraction that he broke the laws. And Hun Sen needs to know this. It's the message that you cannot run away from this. If you continue to break the law and you're stepping on people's all over the place, people will not tolerate this. And Putin has been called for by the ICC, International Criminal Court already, and Hun Sen will be probably next too. If these many people are living in jeopardy and could not make ends meet, and they end up dying and getting sick and getting food shortage, we might end up having another genocide in Cambodia. Who knows? So Hun Sen need to work, need to think, need to change. I know it's hard for the dictator to change, but if he doesn't change, the people will change him.
Yeah, because the EU's already adopted the petitions on Cambodia. It's like gonna suspend Cambodia everything but status if 2023 election deviate from the international standard or violate of human rights continue. So they already warn us, that not warn us, they already warn Hun Sen. It's not just us. Look, Wu and I keep telling, Hun Sen's a dictator. Hun Sen's killing his own people. And when we're talking about EBA, it's a really prime example of almost 1 million people that going to be out of job. It's going to be, and there's no income, and those people have to cross the border. In addition to 2 million people that are already out of the country working, looking for work. So it's a serious issue. I hope that our youth can make a phone call to people that they know in Cambodia, because I know people in Cambodia know someone work at factory next door neighbor, and they need to be talking that this will affect their pocket, this will affect their stomach, and they need to actually go out there and vote and make sure vote for democracy in Cambodia.
Yes, and there's a solution. I know people might be thinking, hey, what are you guys complaining about? What is the solution? Well, we, the free world, usually practice the non-violence and going to the polls by exercising our rights at the polling station is the right thing to do. We need to vote. We need to vote for the candlelight party. I'm not afraid to say that because we all know this. And of course, when CNRP, if CNRP is reinstated before the coming year, before a few months before the coming month here, before the election, then people will need to vote for CNRP. But right now, since CNRP is, still not visible yet in the people's eyes, what do you have available? The only party that is available right now is the candlelight party. What can you do? You only have two choices. Either vote for CPP to torture you some more, continue torturing you for the next 5 years before the next election, or vote for change, the candlelight party. And then that's for me, and I can speak on my behalf, that's what I want to do. And the people now need to be clear that that's the only choice left. And of course, I'm not advocating for a candlelight party, but what can I say? If there's no CNRP, if the CNRP will be reinstated and participate in the July 23rd election, I'm gonna go for CNRP, but I
Yes.
cannot vote anyway because I'm not registered. Yeah, because we all here, we want to vote. We wanted to vote, but what can we say? You can vote, you register, then make your choice, make your right choice. Because when you choose the right party, you life will be better, and of course, will be brighter. Your future for your children will be much brighter than what it is right now.
Thank you, Lupu, and also go vote. Go vote because when you are in Cambodia, look around you, what's going on in Cambodia. I heard many people has no water. The government is passing out drinking water. This time is their home. Next time going to be your home. So you decide. Cambodia have a river, have lake, natural resources that we should not even, the government should not even, but passing out water. And look at the tree, look at the lake. What happened to the lake? Sand on it, building on top of that, no more tree. So if you want example of what's going on for the last 40 years, that's what's going on for the last 40 years. And if you want to keep going, like I said, this time is their turn, next time going to be your turn. And everywhere you look, land grabbing. Everywhere you look, you see people from the province walking, begging for their land every day. And that is what I call cancer. Problem that never go away, problem that will not go away. And it will not go away because the regime is not taking care of the problem. And why they're not taking care of the problem? Because it's affecting their pocket. They are the problem. So when you're talking about cancer, you have to remove that cancer in order to solve issue. And the land issue, when you hear about people, thousands of people walking from province to the capital to ask, to beg and plead for their land that they live on, that's unacceptable. So just look around you when you're in Cambodia and see what is it you want to change.
I read a question in Mr. Som asked, what does Khmer needing to do to keep EBA since the government has no interest in saving it? That's a good question. Hun Sen said, the people in other countries right now, they do not need many clothes, many clothing, and that is not true. I just have 3 or 4 boxes of clothes from my wife's boss brought it to me to take it to the temple. So they recycle. She's turning the clothes to the temple for charity, charitable purposes, and that's, people buy clothes all the times, and if the one they don't use, they give it to the poor, they give it to the church or to the temple. So Hun Sen is lying to you when he said that um, other people in other countries do not need clothes. So this is, and he said also that EBA will end up will Cambodia will end up having no EBA anyway. That is not true either. Just follow what the European Union asked for. Ask what the European Union actually follow the people's request. People do not want to lose jobs, so the European Union speaking for the people. People want jobs and want democracy and human rights and their justice or freedom. But Hun Sen said, when Hun Sen said that, we need to know that there are a million, probably it could be a million jobs or 800,000 jobs. If the people want to change, I mean, people want to have the jobs back for those government workers, then you need to vote for the party that in favor for the people. In this case, we know the canalized party right now, present time. And I emphasize that again. And Hun Sen, when Hun Sen do not want EBA, those million or 800,000 people will lose their job. So if you vote for the candlelight party, you vote for jobs. A million jobs will come back to you.
Correct.
So that's the way to keep the EBA by voting a right party that serves the people. So Mr. Chiasom asked a good question there. Do not vote for CPP because CPP will take your job away. You will end up having no job. You will end up suffering for another 5 years. Who knows? It could be 10 years if Hun Manet's come to power. It's just go on and on and on nonstop. Are there any other questions?
And 40 years should be enough. Doesn't matter what. It's time for a change. It's time for new leadership. It's time for fresh idea.
He said, if Hun Sen follow the correct country, people will like Hun Sen, but Hun Sen follow the opposition to what the people like in Cambodia. Sorry, I do not understand that. Probably he's trying to say that if Hun Sen follow what the European asked him to do, it would be correct for the people in Cambodia. It would be right for the people. But otherwise, the opposition is the right one to choose. Okay, if you have any other questions or anyone else have any questions, I don't see any more questions coming up. But we just need to emphasize that the youth, especially, the message is very strong. Cambodia nowadays is ruled by this one guy named Hun Sen since 1985, almost 40 years now. But he has been, before that time, he has been working for the Ministry of State and for the total of 40 years. So he has been in power for so many years, for almost the longest serving prime ministers. And we are not complaining. We are not doing this Facebook Live if he lead Cambodia's like what they did in Singapore. The country has been developed all the times, but Hun Sen is leading the Cambodia backward, back to Khmer Rouge, back to even poorer than Khmer Rouge, destroying the country, the national forest, and even Kotral, the island that are so popular for Cambodia is all gone. So Cambodia now is getting smaller and smaller. We are losing our lands here and there, especially the lands along the the Vietnamese Cambodian borders. The borders are moving in, not outside, not to Vietnam, but always moving into Cambodia. So we keep losing lands here and there, and people are suffering all the time. So that's what we want to change. And these guys doesn't want us to do it. That's why he keep oppressing our rights, keep putting those activists, our activists in jails. Not just the political activists, the Mother Nature lovers or the NGO organizations leaders in jail as well, or the union leaders like Chum Sitor's in jail too, just because she wanted to speak up for the workers, the Naga world workers. And this is very unjust to me, and I'm gonna keep advocating for the Cambodian peoples until we get the right freedom, until we get real democracy in Cambodia.
There's a new question from Mr. Jiesum. He said, without outside help or intervention, do you think the upcoming election will be fair?
Without outside intervention, the upcoming election is not. We already know that. I already mentioned it earlier. Those 9 members of the National Election Committee, appointed by the CPP, by Hun Sen, and we know it's not going to be fair. But if we all end up in the polls, the Cambodian people that register to vote, I believe 9.7 million registered voters this year. If they all come up to the polling station like back in 2013 when the CNRP participated in the first election, we got 55 seats. That is a leftover from being stolen or taken away by the regime. We still have we still have many seats. And, if this year, when people, those 9.7 million people participated, voted for the Candlelight Party or CNRP, whichever parties participate, then it's hard for them to steal. They cannot steal everything, every vote. We have a high chance of winning, and that's what we hope for. But if you do not vote, we know they're gonna win 100%. So I think recommended, how just ignore how you feel. Just go to votes. That's the fact, and you will get a good result by telling your friends to vote for whatever party favor the people, or votes against the CPP. Then you will be your dream will come true. So that's what we hope for. And again, go to vote. Only voting will change this regime, and when everyone vote for the Democratic Party.
Without outside interventions, like international interventions, Hun Sen will go wild inside Cambodia. And when we talk about international interventions, it's the people that outside of Cambodia, the people like Lok Rikia, the people that actually going to protest, going to rally, calling our senator, calling our Congress, and working with the EU. And those are the reasons why Hun Sen is not going free, not going well in Cambodia. That's how the international community keep their eyes on Hun Sen. So do your part, even though you're outside the country, do your part. If you are in America, call your senator up, call your Congress up, and you in European Union, knock on their door. And that's very important.
Also call relatives in Cambodia. If you're in America or somewhere outside Cambodia, call your relatives, call your nieces, your nephews, or brothers or sisters that are in Cambodia that are registered. ask them or encourage them to vote for the party that favor the people, favor the Cambodian people, that favor democracy or freedom lovers, or protect human rights. That's what I would suggest. It doesn't hurt to call them right now too. Don't wait until the last minute. Like we said from the beginning, this is our words. We cannot call for you. We all want to make changes. You want to make changes in Cambodia. I want to do it too, but we need your help. We can do enough, but we cannot do everything, and that's part of your duty as well, the civic duty. We need to encourage other people all across the country to vote for the party that you like. That's what we would suggest, and do it sooner is better than later.
Thank you, Lupu. We are 10 minutes over our time. We usually go an hour. Now it's an hour and 10 minutes. Thank you so much, Lupu, for being here. Thank you for joining our show. Thank you for explaining, because this is a really important topic. It's, every time when I read economy, when I read anything that has to do directly impact with the Cambodian people inside Cambodia, I want the youth to know. I want the youth to know that this is what happening in Cambodia. It will affect them. So thank you so much, Lupu, for very detailed, and thank you so much for just got back from Washington DC and hop on the show today. And I'm not sure where's your plan for April. Hopefully you stay in Modesto for Khmer New Year's.
No.
I
will fly back to Washington again on the 11th, next Tuesday.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna work on we're gonna meet with the senators, congressmen, and other organization. I think Pomona is doing too, and that's what we work for. And again, it's not the party's money. We spend our own money, pennies and dimes. I thank my for supporting me and to help our parties and our countries. And of course, if she doesn't allow us to do that, we wouldn't be. But knowing her, I appreciate so much. And thank you too, Linda. For your husband and your daughter, always going with you to wherever you go most of the times. And Kamhun, Wong the T, many others. I cannot emphasize enough that there are many people in Canada, and the people from Canada doing the protest too. 5 people from Canada. Thank you, Loksakali, for sending the delegates over to the protest. They drive like hours to the protest to DC. That's not easy. So we would like everyone to participate. And I want to end with JFK's quote. This is very important. JFK, John F. Kennedy, the 35th president of the United States, who got shot on November November 22nd of 1963. He said, "If not us, who? If not now, when?" Okay, unity is important. Okay, so if we don't do it, who's going to do it for us? If we don't do it now, when are we going to do it? Wait until 20 years from now? When we know it's not going to work. So, if you and I think about the same thing, trying to change, let's join hand in hands together. We want to build a strong unity among the democratic countries, democratic parties, to help rescue our country and our people in time. Don't wait until it's too late. And that quote is powerful. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lupu. It's really a really great quote. So please remember, ask yourself, who's gonna do it? If it's not you, who? It's not now, when? So please join us. Please, we'll let you know everywhere that every time we do a protest, we always put it up on this Facebook. Join us. If you are not able to join us, call your friend. Like I said, the next protest probably be in California or Massachusetts. But you still call, join us, able to join us. And most of all, like the Pooh said, if you have family, you have relatives in Cambodia, call them. Call them. I know the time to register to vote is already passed, but if they register to vote, make sure they show up. Make sure they show that they show up to vote, and make sure their vote count. That's in order to show that their votes count. That's the one thing that they can do in Cambodia right now, and the thing that you can do overseas, call them and make sure they vote.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lupu, and thank you so much for joining our show. Thank you, our viewer, to stay with us all these an hour and 15 minutes. So thank you so much. And if I did not see you, Lupu, if I did not see our audience next week, I know I'm going to be here, but some of you might be traveling. Happy Khmer New Year. Wishing you all the best, and looking forward to different topic next week. And if you, our viewer, would like any topic, anything you want us to talk about, just drop comments, because I read them and I appreciate all those comments, and good or bad, I take them. So thank you so much for being with us, Lupu. Thank you so much, our viewer, for being with us all this time and putting in comment. And so I appreciate that. Thank you, and hopefully you have a good evening. And wherever you at, if you are not evening, then have a good morning. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.